Hello everybody, Jason Davis here on Compass Football. Davis up front for Day 9 of the World Cup in Russia, smack dab in the middle of Day 9 at the World Cup, where the people of Russia are mostly behaving, except for that one guy who groped a reporter from Deutsche Welle on the air. Don't do that, people. Keep your hands to yourself. All right, let's get to the games here on Day 9. Brazil with a much-needed victory over Costa Rica in the opener on Day 9 at the World Cup. Obviously, this one important for the Brazilians as they try to get on track here with Neymar and company. Look at the stats from this game just to give a sense of what the Brazilians did. 2-0 on the day. Of course, both those goals coming in added time. 23 shots for the Brazilians versus only 4 for the Costa Ricans. You can tell Costa Rica was all about just trying to limit what Brazil was able to do. Possession, 66% for Brazil, as you might expect. Brazilians passed the ball incredibly accurately, but I don't think anybody would say that they dominated the game the way that you might expect. Certainly Neymar was frustrated on the day. You did have Costa Rica bunkered in, playing defensive soccer, as you might assume. Keylor Navas, fantastic. The wall back there, the Real Madrid man, who Real Madrid needs to be more appreciative of because he is one of the best goalkeepers in the world, if not the best. You had that big 78th minute moment when Neymar went down in the box completely unnecessarily. He actually had a shot on if he wanted to. VAR takes a look at the penalty call, or the referee takes a look at the penalty call via VAR and overturns it, rightfully so. Neymar probably should have seen a yellow card for that moment. He didn't get a card. Later on, picked one up for a different infraction. Brazil, of course, getting those 2 goals in added time. Coutinho first, then Neymar. Did not even seem fair that Neymar, let's be honest about this. Neymar scoring didn't seem fair, although you can't really say that the Costa Ricans deserved any better considering their CONCACAF time-wasting shenanigans. Those of us in the United States, certainly in Mexico, Canada, are well aware of what goes on there with the Brazilians. So Brazil with a victory on the day, and an important one at that for Neymar and company, and now they get 3 points. In the second match of the day, Nigeria with a big 2-0 victory over Iceland, a quiet first half. Neither one of those teams really imposing themselves. Musa scoring twice for the Brazilians in the second half. That first goal, fantastic first touch to bring it down and then fire it in the back of the net, beating the Icelandic goalkeeper. 15 minutes from time, Musa did it again, and Nigeria now looking pretty good. Coming up, as we get ready to close out a Friday at the World Cup, Serbia and Switzerland, the first meeting between Serbia as an independent nation with Switzerland at the World Cup. Obviously, previous to Serbia existing, Yugoslavia played Switzerland a number of times. In Europe, the Swiss have lost just one of their last 4 World Cup games against fellow European nations, though it was in their last such meeting that they lost 5-2 to France in the 2014 World Cup. So normally pretty good against European opponents, obviously not against France in 2014. Couple of notes here, but really we're just waiting to see what happens in this game as Serbia takes on Switzerland. Let's look at the group standings at the World Cup. We'll start with Group D. Croatia, 2 games, 6 points. Taking care of business, beating Argentina, of course, yesterday. We'll get into the Argentinians more here in a second. Nigeria with that victory today move into second place on 3 points. Argentina can still get through. They have to beat Nigeria in order to give themselves a chance here. Obviously, that would give them 4 points. Nigeria on 3 after 3 matches would make it for an Argentinian progression into the next round of the tournament. So a lot about Argentina here after what happened yesterday against Croatia, and we will certainly get to that. Let's look at the standings in Group E as Brazil gets their victory today. They are now on top of the group with 4 points, a draw against Switzerland, a win over Costa Rica, and they'll face Serbia next. The Serbs, of course, and Switzerland playing right now as we speak at the World Cup, and then that will be determining the shakeout for the other 2 games in that group and give us 2 match days each. Group F, Sweden on top right now with Mexico. Only one game played for all of those teams, of course. We're getting ready for those matches tomorrow. We'll take a look at the schedule here in a second as Mexico looks to consolidate their place and get into the knockout rounds by virtue of a win over South Korea. And, of course, Germany facing off against Sweden tomorrow as well, a game that the Germans desperately need, in order to have a chance of progressing at the World Cup. And here it is. Here's Saturday's schedule. Belgium facing off against Tunisia in the first match of the day, all these times Eastern time, because that's where I live. Korean Republic, South Korea against Mexico, and then Germany against Sweden. The Germans trying to get their groove back, defending champions. They don't want to be like the Spanish in 2014 who didn't get out of the group, or the Italians in 2010 who didn't get out of the group, both those teams defending World Cup champions at the time. All right, so let's talk about Argentina. Let's talk about what went down yesterday for Argentina. And Jorge Sampaoli. This is what Jorge Sampaoli had to say after that 3-0 victory by Croatia over Argentina, a humiliating defeat. First and foremost, I would beg for their forgiveness, meaning the fans, especially those who came great distances to see Argentina. It's not the boss's partial responsibility, it's his total responsibility. I had to devise a plan for this match. If I had set things up differently, things might have turned out much better. I don't think it's realistic to put the burden on Caballero. Of course, that's Willy Caballero, the goalkeeper who made a big mistake that give Croatia a goal and set things up for Argentina to struggle on the day. If we take a look at newspaper reaction around the world, very interesting stuff as everybody reacts to what happened with Argentina. You can see some of the headlines. Nothing good coming out of these headlines around and some of them in Argentina, some of them in Italy and Spain. Lionel Messi taking the brunt of this, of course, as the leader of the team and as a man who most people look to in order to be the star of the show for Argentina. So fiasco mundial there from Marca as the man who plays his club football in Spain for Barcelona and just won a title cannot get it done at the World Cup with Argentina. This was my favorite tweet of the day yesterday. I'm not trying to pile on Argentina here, but this gold, that's a fantastic tweet. Little crying emoji smack dab in the middle of the Argentinian sun right there on La Bandera. So for Argentina, a rough go. Shout out to Giselle with her creativity following Argentina's terrible loss to Croatia. It's not over. They still have a game left. There are still possibilities here. Now, it doesn't help that there were reports that the Argentinian team actually wanted Sampaoli gone before the World Cup was over, with a match to go, an opportunity to change the head coach. Would they want to do that? The players have refuted that this is something they talked about. I imagine Sampaoli is going to be in charge for Argentina for the rest of the tournament, whether that be one game or should they be able to beat Nigeria, a further knockout round match or two or three, who knows with Argentina. They could switch it on. It doesn't look great, especially at the back, a disconnect between their midfield and their defense. Lionel Messi not getting involved or being used correctly. In fact, that was something Sampaoli said himself, that he didn't put Lionel Messi in position to succeed for this Argentinian team. I want to go back. Let me go back to these images from the newspapers. I want to wait. Where's the one with Maradona? Because Maradona was all over the place in the media yesterday after this match. Reports that he said, don't pose with a goat until you've won something. Certainly, Diego Maradona, the hero of Argentina, he was apparently crying after the match. Previous to the match, he had held up a Messi shirt and kissed it. So I understand why you're hurting, Diego. So Diego Maradona there at the World Cup, not enjoying his time. Now, it could be worse. You could be, maybe it's not worse. It could be better, I suppose. If you're England, they've got an issue. The team sheet leaked before their game against Panama. Gareth Southgate had previously dislocated his shoulder taking a jog. So this is the story now in England. After the team sheet leaked, and after there was changes announced through the media, including Raheem Sterling being dropped, Ruben Loftus-Cheek coming in for an injured Dele Alli, some changes there for Gareth Southgate. The England discussion was whether Steve Holland should apologize. He went to the team and apologized for having the team sheet in his hand and allowing the media to get a picture of it at an open training session. And further, whether or not the media should be helping out England by not disclosing this information. Here's a tweet from Dan Roan of the BBC. Southgate rebuked the media today when asked about Steve Holland team sheet leak gaffe. Obviously, anytime if we were to give the opposition the opportunity of having our team, it's a disadvantage to us. So, of course, our media has to decide if they want to help the team or not. So, according to Gareth Southgate, it is up to the media to take care of England's business, to keep their team secret ahead of a game against Panama. I am sort of stunned by all of that. I don't know, Gareth. There are things maybe you should take responsibility for. Is it the media's job to cheerlead for England? Why is the media in England, who has notoriously torn down that team and maybe helped submarine a World Cup campaign or two, why is it the job of the media to keep Steve Holland's mistake to themselves? I don't see it that way. I imagine England fans might feel a little bit different. The opportunity to put that information out, get some clicks and some reads, probably too much to pass up for the media. Are they being destructive when they do things like this? It's England. It kind of comes with the territory. And I do enjoy that at this World Cup, England's meltdown finally came. One good performance, and then their meltdown comes. Now, whether or not this undermines the rest of the campaign, we'll see. We'll see what happens against Panama. Gareth Southgate making some changes in in that team. Now, on a slightly different note, and maybe I need one of these, my voice going out, Russia appears to be out of beer. Or at least some of the restaurants and bars in Russia are out of beer. Reports are that bars and restaurants in Moscow, St. Petersburg are finding themselves surprised that World Cup fans are drinking as much beer as they are. It's the world. This is the World Cup, son. People drink beer. This is not new information. All of these teams are scouting their opponents ahead of a World Cup, getting ready for the tournament, getting the information about the World Cup. What should we do? How should we be prepared? What do we need to do to be ready? And the bars and restaurants of Russia couldn't figure out ahead of time, a la those teams scouting their competition, that there was going to be a problem with beer if they didn't get enough in. That's just weak sauce. Of all the problems we expected in Russia at this World Cup, whether it be hooliganism, racism, discrimination towards gay and lesbians, gay and lesbian community, whatever it was, for this to happen, we haven't heard a lot about those other issues. Not quite a problem yet for Russia. Hopefully it remains that way, although we don't know every story coming out of Russia. But we do know that you got to get the beer. There it is. Beer is life. The World Cup is life. The World Cup is fun. Day 9 of the World Cup. Enjoying it immensely. Stick with Compass Football. We'll get more coverage for you as we move along, getting closer and closer to the knockout rounds. Big stuff there. If you happen to be in Washington, D.C., on Saturday, go to McIntyre's in Woodley Park. It's where I'll be, unfortunately, by virtue of a bet I made ahead of the World Cup, wearing a Mexico jersey. I said on my radio show, Sirius XM FC 157, the United States of Soccer, I said, being a U.S. men's national team fan, distraught over what's going on with our team not qualifying this year, that I would only root for Mexico, as everybody seems to want to buy into Mexico, Landon Donovan and Alexi Lalas and Brian Dunseth, that I would only wear a Mexico jersey if Mexico managed to beat Germany in the opening game of their tournament. And they did it. Congratulations to L3. And sad news for me, I am now the owner of a Mexico jersey. 11 a.m. Eastern time for the game between Mexico and South Korea, and I'll be there sporting my jersey and doing some more Compass Football. Make sure you hit like on all of your social media or follow us, whatever it is. Share this as well. We can only keep making Compass Football if you guys follow us on all that stuff. All right, we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot for watching.